All right. Good morning, everyone. We will go ahead and get started as I see people are entering the webinar from the waiting room. Just a little bit about Bluegrass Community Foundation. If you're not familiar with our organization, and if you're new to Bluegrass Gives, BGCF, we've been around since 1967. Our mission is to build generous, vibrant, and engaged communities across Central and Appalachia, Kentucky. We steward about $285 million in assets across almost 900 charitable funds. And those fund holders are located all across Kentucky and, beyond. We have helped award $200 million in charitable grants since 1967. I kind of like to say people don't really give to us, they give through us. We facilitate gifts to charitable nonprofits. And in FY24, we helped award $25 million in grants, just that fiscal year alone. And one of the reasons that we have started Bluegrass Gives in 2011 is just help show that giving to local nonprofits is easy and fun. We really want to streamline the process and encourage more people to give. So we started doing, it was the Good Giving Challenge then, and we'll get into those changes that are coming a little bit more, but just to create like one place where people could give to multiple organizations. Since 2011, the Good Giving Challenge has raised $26 million for local charitable causes. It launches every year on Giving Tuesday. And basically, it's a regional community giving campaign that has raised millions of dollars, mobilizing thousands of donors in support of hundreds of local nonprofits. So just kind of getting into what's new in 2025, we are paring it down to one day of giving. For groups that have been around since the beginning, I wasn't here then, but it used to be 6 weeks long, which is a lot. I can't even imagine how much work that would have been for the nonprofits and for our organization, everybody involved, that it's kind of whittled down to 4 weeks. 1 week, 4 days, and now we're going to one day of giving. I'll get into some more semantics about that. We'll have early giving. The site will remain open for a few days, but really all the matches and prizes are focused on Giving Tuesday. So that's going to be the best day to give. Our goal is to have round-the-clock matches and prizes, and we have a new name. So Bluegrass Gives, the website has always been bggives.org. So it was kind of clunky to say it's a Good Giving Challenge, go to bggives.org, whatever. So it's always been bggives.org. Now, Bluegrass Gives matches that name. And this is more of a statement, right? The Bluegrass is going to give. We give. Everyone's going to give on Giving Tuesday through Bluegrass Gives. Just a recap of last year's event. In 2024, we had 201 nonprofits participating. The total raise was $2.93 million. I already mentioned our 14-year total is $26 million. Last year, the average raise per nonprofit was $13,634, and that number includes matches and prizes. The average gift size was $185, and the total number of gifts was 12,244. Because of the way the campaign was structured last year, I would say the average donor gave more than $185 because people gave multiple times to take advantage of matches that took place on different days. So just so you know, that will probably look a little bit different this year. Some key dates for 2025. As I mentioned, so registration, that's already open, August 11th through September 30th. Registration will close September 30th. Early giving will start November 25th at 9 a.m. and it will stay open until 6 a.m. on December 2nd. It says December 1st, but the site doesn't close and then reopen. It'll remain open until the main event starts on Giving Tuesday, December 2nd at 6 a.m. That's when all the matches and prizes will start. And just a note, the site will remain open for donations for a few days after Giving Tuesday. That will shut down Friday, December 5th at 9 a.m. So that's just, since this is the first year, we're going down to one day just to help catch any. So the site will remain open until Friday, December 5th at 9 a.m. Wrong window now. Requirement 1. These are some of the requirements to participate. Organizations must be registered and in good standing as a 501c3 public charity, according to the IRS. or you have to have a fiscal sponsor that is a 501c3 charity in good standing. Requirement 2 is organizations must submit their annual solicitation with the Kentucky Attorney General. This is required by state law. All this information is on our website, on their website. This is the number one requirement that we have the most difficulty with in getting compliance. This is not our rule. This is the state legislature says that all nonprofits who are asking for money in the state of Kentucky have to file a copy of their 990 and be on a list of nonprofits that are vetted with the Kentucky Attorney General. This is for consumer protection because there are so many different scams out there of people asking for money. The Kentucky Attorney General has a list of organizations that submit their annual 990 with them. And there's a list of, it's like 180 pages long. It's a PDF on their website. This is the number one issue that we have. People will send me their articles of incorporation. I don't care about that. People will send me their registration with the Kentucky Secretary of State. I don't care about that. We want to know that you are on this list of vetted nonprofits that are allowed to basically ask for money in the state of Kentucky. This is all on their website. This is not us. And all nonprofits are required to do this. Just because you're a 501c3 does not mean you're exempt. There are a few exemptions and they are so finite and narrow, you would not qualify. I am nearly certain. So if you have a question about that, you can reach out to me and I can ask our general counsel. But this is required by Kentucky state law. And all you have to do is send your 990 to the Attorney General. And yes, that is every year. So that's not us just being mean. I promise. It is because we hold ourselves out as fundraising for organizations that are in compliance with all laws governing fundraising and nonprofit activity. We can't, that would get us in trouble. Dovetailing into this third requirement that all nonprofits have to have a gold seal of transparency on Candid. This is a BGCF thing, but every year we do catch groups whose 501c3 status has been lapsed because they failed to file those 990s. You have to do it. I think it's 3 years in a row that you don't send that in, that your 501c3 status will be revoked by the IRS. And this is how we catch groups. You can't have a GuideStar Gold Seal without that 501c3 status. So this is also a requirement to get grants from Bluegrass Community Foundation. And it's just best practices. This is for, we have a directory, even on our own website. We call it the Kentucky Nonprofit Directory. It is our most visited page on our website. People really do a lot of research to make sure that nonprofits have financial transparency, have all their ducks in a row, all that. And to get a GuideStar Gold Seal, it's really easy to do. I think the hardest thing might be like remembering what your login is for Candid. We don't have that information. Obviously, that's Candid, but you have to do the requirements for Bronze Seal, requirements for Silver Seal, and then Gold Seal. They have great resources. I think it probably takes like 15 or 20 minutes to do. And then once you get all that information in the first time, you just go in and like affirm that I think it's all true. And then you get your 2025 Gold Seal. Requirement 4 is that you have to be physically located within our service area. Why is that? Bluegrass Community Foundation, our service area is about 16 counties in Kentucky. Of course, we have donors from all over the world during Bluegrass Gives. But this is because our donors who provide those matches and prizes, they want those dollars to be reinvested in nonprofits in our service area. They want those dollars to be reinvested locally. There are statewide giving days. Kentucky Gives is in the spring. You can participate in that. If you're in Louisville or in other areas, I'm sure Northern Kentucky has one. Louisville has one. Reach out to those community foundations in those areas. Maybe they hold a giving day, or maybe they would start. But this is really for groups in our service area. And we do, there is a fence sort of, when you're registering and you're searching for your nonprofit, we have it limited to those zip codes. So if you're not in those zip codes, you won't come up on that search. Requirement 5, institutions of faith can only participate in fundraising for secular charitable programming, such as a food pantry that is operated from the organization. And the same with religious schools. They have to be fundraising for educational purposes, secular purposes. So this is like, It just can't be a church signing up and doing just like, like a collections plate, but like online. They all have their own programs for that. This is really for nonprofit work. Requirement 6, organizations cannot participate if they are identified by the Southern Poverty Law Center hate map or other due diligence tools. So you can view this map. It's on their website. We've never had a group try to register that's on this list. And I promise there's like maybe a handful of groups in Kentucky that are on this list. And it is like, it's like the Ku Klux Klan. It's Proud Boys. None of these organizations are trying to participate in Bluegrass Gives, but we do have to get ahead of it because you never know. Requirement 7, you have to pay the $250 registration fee. You pay that online during registration with a credit card, or if your organization has a charitable fund at BGCF, you can email me and we can do a fund transfer. This registration fee was $500. It was $500. And since 2011, because of just the change in landscape this year, not only the changes we're making down to one day, but just so much federal funding has been cut for nonprofits. I lobbied to get that cut in half, and my team said yes. So you're welcome for that, I guess. But if you have to pay by check, that is not the preferred method. If you could pay by credit card and get reimbursed by your organization, that is the easiest, because we would have to physically receive the check. Then I would grant you a coupon code. Then you can enter that in to complete the registration process. So there could be a lag time there. So credit card is the easiest way. And all these requirements have to be satisfied by the end of day on September 30th. I'll get into I think the clunkiest one is probably the AG, and I'll get into that later. So if groups are totally new to Bluegrass Gives and you don't understand how this works, I will just do a quick rundown of that right now. So basically, the site that you see, bggives.org right now, that will have a donate button on the homepage starting. It'll be very small for early giving and bigger for on Giving Tuesday. All the donations to your organization, you'll have like your own sort of fundraising page or like your own page for your organization on that site. All the donations have to come in through bggives.org during the campaign to be eligible for matches and prizes and to be added to your fundraising total. So what does this mean? Donations have to be made with a credit or debit card, ACH, that's like bank account, or a BGCF, if your donors have a BGCF donor advised fund. We cannot accept paper checks, stock gifts, IRA rollovers, other commercial donor advised funds, things like that at that time. All the donations have to come in through the site. Donations are 100% tax deductible. And the nice thing is that your donors get that tax receipt immediately by email. So that means like you can't do sort of quid pro quo gifts. There will be, if you register and our general counsel sends out a link to a rules webinar after registration closes that gets into more detail about this. But you can't say like, oh, if you give $50, we'll send you a tote bag. Or if you give $25, we'll send you a sticker. You can't do that because then we would have to do the math. Like the tax receipt wouldn't be for the full gift amount. So because we want all donations to be 100% tax deductible, that's the rule. So you only have to worry about thanking your donors. You don't have to worry about sending tax receipts, doing all that stuff. The minimum donation amount online during Bluegrass Gives is just $10. So that's part of us making donations easy, easy and fun. There is no maximum donation. I truly saw a donation of $100,000 come in one year. That was one time, but it did happen. And a good segue now is those credit card fees that's crazy work for that $100,000 donation, but that's what happened. The transaction fees on the site, when I first started at BGCF, I started doing this 6 years ago. I think credit card fees we weren't as used to seeing those added on to transactions. Now it's pretty common practice. You go to a restaurant, coffee shop, whatever, you'll see credit card fees are added to things. So unfortunately, that's just the nature of an online giving campaign. But I do want to let you know that these are a little bit lower than standard. We negotiated a lower rate. So the credit card fees are 2.8% platform fee plus 30 cents per transaction. And then there's a Stripe transaction fee. So that comes out to about 5% and 30 cents. Stripe is a third-party payment processor that handles the credit card fees. ACH is 2.8% platform fee plus a $3 flat bank fee. And these are processed through Plaid, which is a third-party super secure processing system for ACH. And so because of that platform fee, the $3 flat fee, there is a $100 minimum on those ACH gifts. So if your donors are trying to give $10, ACH won't even be an option unless they add another zero to that. And then at $100, that would be an option. If a donor is giving through their BGCF donor advised fund, there is no fee on that because it's a fund transfer. We just move the money from their fund to the Bluegrass Gives fund. And the great news is donors can cover fees at checkout, and the vast majority do. I think like 80% of donors cover fees at checkout. So this is just kind of standard. And the reason we are very confident in Stripe and Plaid. The reason we switched to a new platform a couple years ago was because the giving platform was using their own proprietary transaction software, and it wasn't working. So we feel good about these. These are pretty industry standard, and there's even a limit on. So the nice thing about Bluegrass Gives is that your donors have like a shopping cart. I kind of say it's like as easy as online shopping. They can add up to 10 donations at a time through to their cart and check out. And that's to not overload that payment processor and the site. Because if somebody was trying to add like 100 donations to their cart, right, that could jam up the system. So there's a lot of safeguards to prevent a crash and to make sure donations go through. How it always works. And your first year, it will be kind of funky, but it will work out as you participate more than 1 year. We mail the checks to you, your checks in mid-January of the following year. So how it works during Bluegrass Gives, the donors will make a donation to you. It's tagged as a donation to you. But on their bank accounts and bank statements, credit card statements, it will say it's a gift to Bluegrass Community Foundation. Then we turn around and make a grant to your organization. So we have to wait about 2 weeks for those transactions to clear. So, okay, donations close Friday, December 5th. We don't get paid. We get a lump sum payout from Bonterra a week later. And then we sort of have to wait 2 weeks onto that just for all those transactions to clear and for the dust to settle a little bit. You would be surprised, but every year there are donors who dispute transactions. And Bonterra does sort of fight those for us. You'd be surprised, but it happens every year. And so what would happen is if we cut you a check immediately, then if a donor contested or disputed, like a $1,000 donation, well, we've already paid you, and that leaves us in the hole. And we just have to wait, maybe there's insufficient funds, maybe they're confused. You just never know. But Bonterra does try to fight those as much as possible. And the very few are successful now. When we were on the previous platform, they weren't really as diligent about that. But we just have to wait 2 weeks plus that week, the week for us to get our payout, then 2 weeks for transactions to clear. And then where we were like at the end of the year, right? And we all know end of year is extremely busy. But then that's when our finance team would do those match calculations. They export a spreadsheet. They have the parameters of every match that's available, and they make sure those transactions are still clear. They do all that work on the back end. I had a question at an in-person session. It's not subjective. It is based on they don't know who the donors are. It's pure math. I mean, we're analyzing thousands of transactions. It's not subjective. They're just doing based on what the match pool is, dollar for dollar, da, 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 da. They know how to do it. I am only able to sort it by alphabetical order in Excel. So I don't even know how they do it, but it's not subjective. And I don't want to make it sound like that, but they do those calculations, and then they create those reports. We put together a letter that has a breakdown of which matches you receive. So we'll have a lump sum of the Marks Berry Family Foundation match. You got I'm just throwing out a number, $587 or whatever. You won't know which donations are matched. We've never disclosed that. And we actually, in real time, people will ask us, well, is this match still open? We don't really calculate that in real time. There's so many donations going in, and there's so much work on the back end that has to be done to double check that. We don't want to dispute a transaction to get a match, right? When a good transaction could have gotten that match. So anyway, you get a breakdown with your check that has what matches you got, different prizes. And we do not send you like a spreadsheet or, a list of donors and information, things like that. You can see that in real time on your platform on BG Gives. So you can start sending out thank you messages to your donors like immediately. You'll see all that in real time. What you won't know is what donations are matched or whatever. That's just how it works. So every year you'll get your check the following month. And there was a nonprofit who's participated a lot, and they said it's actually kind of nice because January can be kind of slow. So you have all these donations coming in the end of the year. That's pretty common. And then January can be kind of a slow month. I know it's slow for retail, for nonprofits, like across the board. So it's kind of nice to get that boost in January the following year. Although that was a positive way of looking at it. Some of the benefits for participating, the tools, I think this giving platform is super easy to use. I kind of joke, and I shouldn't, oh my gosh, it's my mom's birthday. I shouldn't make this joke about her today, but she's not super tech savvy. But I'm like, if Rhonda can get on her iPhone, it's not even a new iPhone, like iPhone 8 and give to her favorite nonprofits during Bluegrass Gives, anybody can give. That means the site is super easy to use. So I think the giving platform is really easy to use. There's a lot of great tools and features on the website that you can use to help build out your campaign, like fundraising pages. And we'll have some webinars about the different functionalities of the site, like once registration closes and everybody's in. I think Bonterra Help, the help desk, is very helpful, much more helpful than our previous platform. BGCF will have webinars like this. We'll have additional like office hours in the fall. And we're always here to help. There's online resources already sort of listed on bggives.org under the nonprofit toolkit. Bonterra has a great video library of tutorials. They have help articles. They have lots of online guides. Promotion. We do a big campaign in the fall, usually starting like the beginning of November. We used to start our campaign more after Election Day, but we don't have a real election in Kentucky this year. So that's great. So that opens up that media space for us a little bit more in late October, early November. And just the power of collective giving. Thousands of donors are visiting this one site during this campaign, and they are giving to multiple organizations at once. So there's just the power of thousands of donors coming to the site, and most give to more than one organization at one time. So it's really great. And of course, the matches and prizes to amplify the power of your fundraising. We will announce matches and prizes in October. We're still working on those. But we do try really hard to get good matches and prizes there for you. And we encourage you all to get your own matches and prizes. If you have board members, previous donors who have a history of giving, significant levels, you can ask them, hey, if you're going to give to Bluegrass Gives this year, to us during Bluegrass Gives, would you consider putting that up as a match? And then there are spaces, tools on the Bonterra site where you can publicize those. But I think that's a great way. I'm participating in a Giving Tuesday, the National Giving Tuesday group, learning cohort, community campaigns. And they gave us a stat that 85% of donors are more likely to give if there's a match or match available. So that's just great incentive to secure some matches for your organization. Yes, I will be sending the slides out with the link to the YouTube video. So I'm just going to go to that's not what I wanted today. Since registration is live, I don't have to go to last year's webinar. So I know the chat's disabled. If you're not able to see my Google Chrome screen, will you just pretend like you're asking a question and put that in there? I'm just going to do some stuff on, I think I'm sharing my entire screen over here, but I just want to make sure. So right now, as I mentioned, so this is what the Bluegrass Gives site looks like right now. It has different modes. Like after registration closes, it'll switch over to a different mode, things like that. But right now, this register button is the key thing. So when giving is live, that register will turn into, it'll say donate. And then once, thank you. Thank you for confirming that. So anyway, when like when it's Giving Tuesday, there will be a big ticker here that shows how much money has been donated. So this kind of shifts throughout the campaign. But right now, register is the main thing here. So you can see here, you can see groups that are already registered. But yeah, register right here. So this is just a reminder of the different requirements, things like that, the fees, matches and challenges, things like that. Kind of everything I think I've already covered right now. This just helps ensure, like, yes, did you read this? Please read this before you start. Register button. So if, like I mentioned, we have parameters, actual geographic parameters. You have to be in those different, in our zip codes, right? So all you have to do is click participate here. Yeah, and that's me, right? Let's see what happens. So then it takes you to this form. If you have a coupon code, like if you are paying by check, I will send you a coupon code. You would enter that there. If you are an organization that is participating in the Give 828 Lex campaign, which is put on by the Lexington Black Prosperity Initiative at BGCF, and they have a match that covers a registration fee for Bluegrass Gives, things like that. You would put that coupon code in there. We haven't sent those out. I know that there are some of the community funds in Franklin County, Harrison County, other groups that are providing a match to cover registration fees, but that would be included in your check in January. It wouldn't be here. It's a match, so it's not on the front end. So this is just some information for us: legal name of your organization, physical address. That's just so we can make sure that you're in our service area. Your website, phone number, operating budget. Just briefly share your mission, county of your primary location. And this would be, there will be filters on BG Gives where people can see. I think that is live now. If you are searching for nonprofits, you can filter by, well, I guess that's not a county filter. Never mind. It used to be, but that's for our purposes of, that helps us in calculating those matches. So like for Clark County, we'll pull a spreadsheet and filter it by Clark County, et cetera. Primary cause type, that's for these, I don't know, they're just not live yet, but they will be. A lot of donors will filter by cause type and by location. So that's really important there. And primary cause type, that's also for us. We might have some groups that do a match based on like arts or human services, youth, things like that. This is where also it gets a little tricky for people. Upload proof of your solicitation registration. I'll go through this in a second. It needs to be a PDF and it has to be less than 5. I don't even know what that MB stands for, but there is a size limit on that file. I've heard from some folks who have trouble uploading those documents, but they were trying to like do a JPEG, or the file size is too big. Just Google how to reduce file size of PDF or how to convert JPEG to PDF. That's literally what I would have to do too. So just make sure those are PDFs and the file size isn't too big. And then you would put your credit card information there. If you had a coupon code, you would have to put in the credit card information. And then you just hit submit. So then that you would get a confirmation email that your registration had been submitted. I would still have to go in and approve it manually, or somebody on my team. We just go in and double check that Attorney General registration is complete, that the GuideStar Gold Seal is there, that you're physically located in our service area, things like that. So then when we approve that organization, then you'll get another email that says, congratulations, you're approved. So I try to go in and do those every afternoon, but it may be like 2 or 3 days. And if you are missing something, I will email you and let you know what you're missing. Again, it's usually the AG registration or it's the GuideStar Gold Seal. Usually it's like somebody just needs to go in and say like, yes, all this information is correct. And then it's there. So I think registration is pretty easy. And then I'm trying to think, let me show you. Let me see. So I'll show you what it looks like when you're, you'll be able to go in and update, like you can add a cover photo, you add your logo, things like that. You can really customize it. So people ask when you're, do you have to register every year? Yes. If you participate in Bluegrass Gives last year, do you have to register again this year? Yes. And then I think that you'll have to go and copy. I'm not registered on this one yet. You have to sort of go in and like copy your campaign. See, like I have like campaign for 2024 and this is 2025. I think you have to go in and like copy your campaign to like copy all your information over. You could go in and copy. I'll do this in a separate webinar. I'm not going to get into this now. Let's talk about registration. That's like getting ready for your giving day. All right. So moving on, I'm trying to monitor questions as I go along. Yes, we will share the slides and we'll have more information about getting your page ready, about getting all that stuff sort of after registration closes so that we can do it once. So that'll be like early mid-October. We have a webinar scheduled for October 7th that will cover peer-to-peer fundraising, and that will cover some matches too. But we will do some like one-off webinars about different things. So I'm just going to go to Candid really quick just to show you. So this is the Candid site. You would need to log in. GuideStar. You would need to sign in and update your organization. I don't even manage Bluegrass Community Foundation. So like if it was me, I'd have to like ask that person to go in. But I will show you what you would download and to upload to the site. So you can see here, we have a platinum. So I would just go in here. This is the way that I find easiest, but everybody has different ways. So I would do save as PDF, I think. And then you can see there that it says platinum. What would be better if like I clicked on that, it's going to make me log in, I bet. Yep. Every single time. What I would like to see is your organization's name and the GuideStar seal, right? Like right here, it would be great. Don't just send me like the gold seal that doesn't have your name. Like you could just get that off the internet. And I mean, if you were savvy, I guess you could make all this up, but please don't do that. Because we can't grant to organizations that are not in good standing with the IRS. That gets us in trouble. So I would say that as a PDF, and like save it to my desktop or something, right? Save. And then that's what I would upload that file to the site. Like, oh, that was the wrong thing. I put it in the wrong section, but you get it. And then, so any questions about that? They have really good resources about how to update your profile. And they'll sort of talk you through, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. Seals of transparency. Here we go. See, this is what you need for bronze, what you need for silver, and then what you need for gold. This used to get groups hung up that they didn't have the audited financial report. It doesn't have to be that. It can be your 990. You can upload that. So this is super basic information. And I'm telling you, donors do look at this. So this is good practice for you to just have for the future with, Bluegrass Gives aside. Going back to the AG. Here is the Kentucky Attorney General site. Here is the list that I refer to and that you would refer to too. So you would just I search for the organization name here. And then, I would say, we're on page 19. So I would do the same thing, print, save as PDF. And then I would do custom and I would do page 19. All right, save that. And that's it. You just upload that one page, please. Because I have this whole thing too. And I mean, for organizations that are uploading the wrong documents, I usually do go to the page and search for them anyway. So that would be more helpful if you could just go on and do that. But I do check before I reach out to you. And then here's the information here. You can see this is the statute that requires this. And then if it's your first time, you have to send in your 990, your IRS determination letter, and your bylaws or articles of incorporation. If you, there's no filing fee. So this is free. And then you have to mail it to the Attorney General's office. And then if you've already done that, then every year you just send in your 990, whatever form of 990 you do, and reach out to them if you have any questions. Because I know some people have called and said like, well, I don't have articles of incorporation. Just reach out to them and they'll tell you what you can do. I have heard that they're really, really helpful, and they'll send you email confirmation and things like that. This list is updated every Monday. So I go in, once I'm waiting, I kind of go in like every Tuesday, I'll say, and search for organizations that we're still waiting for. So they're really good about updating this every Monday. I will say, so don't wait until the end of September to do this step, because if your name isn't on this list on September 30th, then what? Then you haven't met those requirements. So you want to go ahead and get this done. Where am I? I've already mentioned the trainings that are up on Bonterra right now. These are under like nonprofit toolkit, and then training sessions right here. So this one was us, but there's all these are like on demand. So you can watch them anytime. It says register, but you can just watch this video. That's right there. They have lots of other videos. This is that live webinar that I was talking about, peer-to-peer fundraising. And that's just a tool. I think I already saw a group that has one. I don't think that they're linked right here yet. They will be. I think I saw Blessing Hands had one. Yeah, you can see they already have a fundraiser here. So those will be linked there. So this is a great way to talk about tools, and like what I think sets this campaign apart is it helps. This is a great tool for like your board members, your staff. I know there are schools that participate that have like every classroom teacher has a fundraiser page, and it could be as finite as like, help us get a new computer for this class or whatever. But you would just click fundraise, and you can create your own fundraiser page. That we'll go into all that in October. But that's a great tool that the campaigns that are really successful, they get their board members and things really involved. I've seen there's one group that has their executive director. It's her birthday in early December. And every year she'll have like a birthday fundraiser page. Like, instead of doing like those goofy Facebook fundraisers, like give to Tanya's birthday fundraiser on BG Gives. So go ahead. All these videos here, I saw somebody ask about like profile pages, things like that. You can go ahead and start looking through these things once you get registered and start building out your profile and things, and you'll be all set. But we'll do those as well. After you register, you'll get a rules webinar from our general counsel. That will happen in like early October once registration closes. And then you'll get a DocuSign, just confirming that you've watched the webinar and you've signed those rules. We used to do it where like you would have to print it out and mail it in and all that stuff. So we try to make it as easy as possible now, trying to move everything online that we can. As I mentioned, those training sessions, we'll have webinars. We can have standing office hours, especially for like groups that are new. I think that would be really helpful. And then we're going to do some webinars just for like new organizations, or if you want a refresher, sort of break out those topics a little bit more. I mentioned those matches and prizes. We'll send a sheet out in October that lists all those. It'll also be up on the website as they're added. Promotion, I mentioned our campaign usually takes off after Election Day. One fun thing we're going to do this year, instead of doing that philanthropy party, we do a press conference every year to sort of kick off the campaign. We invite the media to come. Lexington's mayor comes and declares that like usually it's Good Giving Challenge week or whatever, but this year it'll be, Bluegrass Gives Day. This year we're going to do that instead of, we always will be like at Fifth Third Pavilion in Tandy Park, or then we have to move it inside to the Government Center. We're going to do that at the Lexington Legends ballpark this year. They've agreed to let us use that space, which we're really excited about. So that'll probably be the same time, like 11. We're going to do some prizes, have some games. We're going to have some food out there. So we're trying to make it a little more like festive and fun. So we're going to do some live streaming and stuff out there as well. So just stay tuned for all those details. I've already mentioned early giving will start November 25th. That's not tentative. That's for sure. But remember, there's no matches and prizes at that time. It's just like a nice way. It's really helpful. I think it's like a dress rehearsal, you get to see like how the site will look and operate and stuff before giving starts, especially good if it's your first year. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions. And if there's anything that I think of that I haven't covered, let me know. Okay. The question about a nonprofit that's registered in Fayette County, but work is done internationally. I think that's okay. If you want to reach out to me, if you have questions about the eligibility of your organization, you can let me know and I can reach out to our GC, but I think that's fine. I think it's just like, if this is just speaking from my memory, like if there is an organization like Clark County does a big match, and I know, they had a special session to talk about how their match is going to work this year. But if you're getting match funds like from the Clark County Community Foundation, I think you just have to sign a grant agreement that like those funds that you raise will be, the funds that you receive from the match will be spent in Clark County. But I think it's okay. You just have to be, you need to be here. But reach out to me and see. We can talk through your questions specifically. Yes, we will share, as I mentioned, we'll share the slides, and we will have some great toolkits that we'll share after registration closes. So we just like to make sure that everybody is like in, and then we'll start sharing those out. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Now's kind of your chance. Sorry that I disabled the chat before. I'm really excited about the changes that we're making this year. Bringing it down to one day. I think, as I mentioned, that donors during Bluegrass Gives, they usually give to more than one organization at once, right? So they were getting emails from us every day, and emails from every nonprofit that they've ever given to every day. So I think over the course of that week, donors are getting a little bit fatigued. So I'm really excited that I think this will just create excitement and make it a little more viral. It will create that sense of urgency, because we would have to spread matches out throughout the week. And this year they're all going to be on that one day. So the goal is that any time on that day will be a good time to give. We're still working on getting matches. What I would love to see is more of like an around the clock match pool. We have one lined up I'm kind of dovetailing into the question about matches and prices now, but we have one $100,000 match pool that will be dollar for dollar, because we can do more functionality through the site. We're trying with dollar for dollar matches or 2-to-1 matches, which we're not going to do, but instead of the 50 cents on the dollar. So we're kind of trying to simplify everything. So basically donations will be doubled up to a certain dollar amount. I think it's $250 starting at like 9 a.m. on Giving Tuesday. So that match will go like until that match pool runs out. And then the goal is to have another one that's set to start maybe like at noon or something. So the goal is to have dollar for dollar matches mostly all the way through the day. That may not happen. We had one sponsor who is shifting their focus elsewhere this year on different funding opportunities. But the goal is to have those dollar for dollar matches as much as we can. They won't be any less than dollar for dollar. We are not going to do an endowment challenge this year. So if you're looking at our YouTube page and you're watching, information or looking at, the match and prize information from last year, we're not doing the endowment prize this year. The goal also is to have prizes going on like every hour. So even if there's maybe not a match pool for a little bit of time, there will still be opportunity for prize drawings. So the goal is to have dollar for dollar matches throughout the day. I mean, that's a lot of money though, because, we raised last year, 2.93 million. So that's a lot of match dollars. Clark County will have their own match that they're running differently. But the goal is to have a lot of dollar for dollar matches and then prizes all day, like in terms of at least every hour. I know that we have the one prize last year. We've had it for almost 3 years, the Groovolution prize. She loves the number 11. So we do prizes of like $1,011 or something for 11 hours on Giving Tuesday. So that will still be going on. The Mitchell Family Foundation is doing, instead of the fast break, what do they call it? The fast break challenge. We're doing prizes throughout the day, breaking up that match, those prizes and doing prizes throughout the day based on different things. So we're trying to make it more fun and just make truly any time a good time to give on Giving Tuesday. So they will be, some will be similar and some will be different. I don't think that's responsive to your question. But of course, all the matches will be on Giving Tuesday. So there will be early giving, but no matches. I know that we had a match during that time last year. No match during early giving or late giving. We really want to focus all the energy on that day. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Like I want to reach out to maybe like a local coffee shop and have like 6 a.m., like the first donation at 6 a.m. kind of thing, like the early bird, stuff like that. Like kind of fun, just silly stuff like that. Try to make it really fun. So yeah. And I think it'll be great. I don't know. Yeah. I think the community will catch on. It might just be, there might be like a year of adjustment. We're not doing the print guide. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. We're not doing the print guide. And instead we're going to focus, more energy. Cause I mean, that's a great resource. But it is expensive and, it is really only mailed to households in Lexington. Of course, we get extra copies and we hand them out, but it doesn't have the same impact in some of our other service area counties. So I'm trying to do more digital, online promotion that isn't so focused on Lexington only. And so like with the TV news, we do some PSAs with the TV station, and that has a greater reach, obviously, than like a printed piece in Lexington. So yeah, we're just trying to spread the love a little bit better to all the counties. I got a question. Are these matches per donor or per nonprofit? How do you determine who gets them? So it will really depend on the match. Most, like if it's a dollar for dollar match, like the Marksberry Family Foundation that starts at $9, it will be like a dollar for dollar up to $250, like per donor, per organization. So like if I were to give to 5 organizations $250 each, that could be matched for each organization. It's per unique donor per organization. It's like per, this is not answering your question. But it depends on the match, and they will have descriptions that lay that out. But like I can't give 5 times to the same organization $250 and get matched every time for the same match pool. Each match pool is sort of like its own thing. So like we'll run a report from like 9 to noon. Say there's a dollar for dollar match from 9 to noon. We'll run a report for donations made during that time. And like my first donation to an organization up to $250, that one would be matched. If I gave again, that wouldn't be matched. But I can give to more than one organization during that time frame and get those matched. Hopefully that makes sense. And our finance team, they know how to, some of this stuff is available. There is some functionality on the site that we're going to start using this year to award those. And it has those. And it's like unique donation is based on like that donor information. So like email address, zip code, billing information, things like that. But that's just so, one donor can't go in and like use all of the match to a certain organization. And we try to spread it out a little bit for everybody. I don't anticipate, last year we did a pro rata match pool. I don't anticipate we're going to do that again. So I think it'll just be like straightforward dollar for dollar matches or prizes that will be awarded. And there's a prize tool on the site that will list, you'll be able to see all the prizes. I'll show you when we do the prize. We'll do a matches and prizes webinar once those are announced and finalized. And then I'll show how that will all show up on the site. You'll be able to see contact information on your donors as soon as they give. You might get emails as donations come in. That might be a functionality that you can change. But on your, let me see if I can, I don't know, personal dashboard. I can show you. Manage organization. So this was, so like if you were to log into your account, you could see like here, like I'm not registered. I haven't registered this for this one yet, but you can see the donations that come in for your organization. And then if you go to reports and donations, you'll have that available. That's in real time. So as donations come in, you'll be able to see them here. And then you can export a CSV of these, a spreadsheet, and then like add those emails to your like MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever you use. So you'll be able to see this and then breakdown of intended donation, the fees, whether they're donor covered fees, things like that. And if they are giving, I didn't have a fundraiser for this page, but if they gave through a certain fundraiser page, you'll be able to see that too. That will be listed there. Things like that. If the donation is anonymous, you'll be able to see like donation amount, but not who gave. Donors do have the opportunity to remain anonymous in their giving. And I think that's and some donors really do take advantage of that. So you won't be able to see their contact information. I know people, nonprofits do get a little, they want to know who gave, right? And I get it, but they can give anonymously. So, so you won't be able to thank them directly. If it's a BGCF fund holder, if you want to, that gave anonymously, you can send us a thank you note that we can forward on to them. But they do have that option to remain anonymous. So yeah, you'll be able to export this information, all that. When you're registering at some point or after, you do not have to do this bank account and verification step. There might be some tutorials that tell you to do this. You do not need to do this because you are not getting paid through the site. You get a check from us, so you don't have to worry about that. That's an important thing that I wish I had mentioned earlier in the webinar. But you do not have to add your bank account information there because we mail you a check. So that's nice. That's a step that you don't have to worry about. So you don't have to do that. And some giving pages are open year round. We're not open year round. So you don't have to worry about that. I think as registration closes, I'll do another, as I mentioned, we'll do webinars to talk about like best practices, tools that you can use to make getting ready for your campaign really easy. You're probably already, this is for also in-person presentation. So I'm sure you're on the Bluegrass Gives email list, or how else would you have known about this? So, but if you have any questions about any of this stuff that you want to ask me offline, feel free to send me an email or give me a call. So we're excited about all the changes that are happening this year. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for Giving Tuesday. It's going to be a busy day, a lot of activity, but then the nice thing is the next day we can relax and we're not doing this for multiple days in a row. So I really appreciate your time today. And again, reach out if you have any questions about getting registered or what you can expect afterwards. But we are really excited about growing Bluegrass Gives, making it a bigger campaign across our whole region, and just growing generosity and getting more people to give to your organizations and uplifting your work through the campaign. So again, thanks for your time and best of luck getting ready and getting registered. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks.